All right. Okay. All right. Hello. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi, everybody. Good evening. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back. Yeah, to the latest episode of Unlocking Internship Success. Yeah. This is the latest episode of these three series. Yeah, and my name is Muhammad Aizat bin Azhari, and I will be your host slash moderator for today's session. If you are new to the series, this is the platform where we invite our intern students, yeah, to come on board and share with us about their experiences doing internship. Yeah, so we have been doing this for the past 2 weeks. We've had Kabir, who did his internship at TV3, and also Safia, who did internship at Peter Bosch. And today, we'll be talking to another special guest who's been doing her internship at Penang Institute, for the past 4 months, and she will be sharing, with us about, her, what it's like doing internship, maybe a bit of her, experiences, the lessons that she's learned along the way, and maybe and also essentially how she survived, in the corporate world. And I'm sure, this is not an easy thing to do. I'm sure that, this is something that we all can benefit from, those, especially those of you who are going off for your internship, starting probably next semester onwards. Yeah. So this is all something that we can benefit from, hopefully. So if you have any questions, anything that you would like to ask, or, your thoughts you want to share with us, please feel free, to share your thoughts and your questions in our chat, and we will look at them at the end of the segment. So, towards the end of this sharing session, we will have a Q&A, and then, we will be talking, we'll be looking at all your questions, and maybe, I'm sure, Miss Husna here will be very delighted, very happy, to address all of your, questions. So without further ado, let's please welcome, our basically our our special guest, Miss Husna. Hi, how are you, Miss Husna?
Hi,
Hi, thank you. Yeah,
someone.
right. Thank you for taking the
Yeah.
time. Yeah. All right. Okay, we are so happy, to have you, joining us today. So thank you very much. So, maybe we will start with, to kick things off. Maybe, if it is possible, could you share with us, or just briefly introduce yourself? I'm sure everybody here already knows, who you are. Just, share us a bit about yourself and where you are currently doing your internship.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Isaac. Well, hello, everyone. Hello, Mr. Pavi, and everyone. It's good to see everyone
Hi,
tonight.
hi.
My name is Husna Shapira binti Mirza, and I'm currently in semester 6. And then I am currently doing my internship in Penang Institute, specifically under Penang Monthly, a monthly magazine that is supported under the Penang State government. Basically, Penang Institute is actually a think tank. It's located in Ploticus, Georgetown. For those who does not know what a think tank is, so think tank is actually an organization that does the thinking. It is called a think tank because it is an organization that I would say put together all researchers under different universities
Mm,
to actually do research and actually plan policies for the state government. So as for Penang Institute, Institute is the policy maker or policy researcher specific for the Penang State's government. So they are operating based on the state's government grants, and also some funding from people. There are also corporates that are funding Penang Institute, for example, like PBA, and also some basically in Penang there is like a lot of state related or government state government related organizations. So these organization sometimes they also give supports to Penang Institute, and we are also working operating based on by using the grant for research. Yeah, so basically that's how we function and everything.
All
Yeah.
right. Okay. So that's very, very interesting. When you say that this is a research center, it's a think tank. So basically, it's a research center that is supported by the state government of Penang. Yeah. And
Yeah.
this is basically the research center is supposed to help the government, the state government, and also the government of Malaysia with with their research that are relevant to probably about about issues that are about Malaysian current issues, yeah. And then
Yeah.
they then okay, so that is okay. So because of that, my next question would be, why did you choose Penang Institute for your internship? What drew you to this company? So basically, what was the appeal? Maybe you can share with us a bit.
So actually, this is actually quite long story, but then I'll just keep it short. So actually, before I apply, I don't actually know Penang Institute because originally I'm not from Penang. I'm from Kedah, and most of the time I'm actually studying in the southern part of Malaysia. So technically, I don't really know what's going on in the northern states. But then what happened is that previously I was actually in another company, and I found out that the role that I was in at that time does not really suit me. For I think in the initial first 2 weeks or something like that, and I consulted the situation with Mr. Pavi, and Mr. Pavi just said, "Oh, probably you can, try somewhere else, something like that." Oh, that's what happened. But because I mean, in Sungai Petani Kedah, there wasn't really a lot of company that are open for internship specifically for our course in the industry of like communication and stuff. It's really hard to find, so I decided to venture to Penang. So the thing with Penang is that Penang have a lot of organizations that are supporting different kind of like cultural cultural preservation. They have like tourism, they have like publication houses and stuff. So I tried applying to all of them. And then one of the publication happens to be this publication called Bulan Press. And then when I actually like email my your resume and everything, my application to uh to the the publication house, they got back to me with an email saying that, oh, we're not open currently, but then they suggested that I try interning under Penang Institute. So this is actually a coincidence because the one that actually responded to me from Bulan Press was actually Mr. Kevin Poncelet, which is actually one of the writers that have contributed for Penang Monthly before. So it happens to be like I happen to know Penang Monthly and also Penang Institute through this connection, and I actually applied to Penang Monthly after that.
All right. Okay. I mean, like, it's not an easy process, yeah, actually, to get a placement. From what you have told me, there are so many things that you have to go that you have to go through, and essentially, then you ended up here at Penang Institute. And I find it very fascinating, also, to think that our students are able to go to all sorts of industries where English and language is concerned, and then you ended up here, in Penang Institute, and at the same time, basically, you are very, Penang Institute is very special, because this is a research center that helps the government with their decision making processes. So meaning to say that a lot of things, when it comes to the government wanting to come up with certain policies, they will always rely on public opinions and certain findings, certain and these findings and opinions must always come from research center like Penang Institute. So okay, all right. When you told me about this, I can already this is something that I think that is very relatable, especially to a lot of us, who have gone through the process or will be going through the process of internship application. I mean, like your juniors are here also. This is something that they will be experiencing. Yeah? They will be learning from, I think this is a very, very in first-hand experience that you are sharing with a lot of us here. So because I've been speaking to many students, and usually the reasons, when I ask them about their reasons for them to choose a internship placement, it always boils down to three reasons or three factors. They say that I choose a company because because of the reputation of that company. That's number one. And number two is because of the distance, because it's so close, it's very near to my house, and because of that I choose this company. And the third reason, third factor normally will involve money, the allowance. The bigger the allowance, the higher the bigger the probability for that student to choose that company as the internship placement. And something that I just want to share with all of you also, I did my internship back at Suruhanjaya Komunikasi Malaysia. It's SKMM. It's a government agency. Maybe we will talk about this later more in detail, but when I did my internship there, I only receive about 300 ringgit a month. For government agencies, it's normal. I don't know about the rate, the allowance that students are getting doing internship at government agencies these days, but during my time I received 300 ringgit. But on the plus side, the office is very close to where I live. It's just about 15 minutes away. All right, so thank you very much. You are now saying that even though you are staying in Kedah, but your office is in Penang, yeah, and this is something that you all have to consider also, when you're thinking about where to do your internship. So next is, now you are here at Penang Institute. Can you tell us when was the first day of your internship? Was it like in
Okay. Besides that, can I also share like I forgot to
yeah,
share my slides.
oh, yeah, share your
Okay,
slide,
okay. So
whatever
that
you
the
have.
student won't really. I mean,
Right,
like
right,
having
right,
it is better. Okay,
right.
wait, yeah.
So yeah, when was the first day of your internship? Yeah, Husna?
Uh,
October, right?
yeah.
It
So
was in
my first internship day is on October 15th.
mm,
So generally, okay, let me tell you what happened during my first day. So
mm,
actually, I was actually very intimidated to join the company because initially when I applied to the company, to Penang Institute, I wasn't really expecting that I'm gonna get it,
mm,
because most majority of the people that is working for Penang Monthly, for like Penang Institute, are actually, majority of them are researchers, and they
mm,
at least have a master. So I was thinking, probably won't actually end up here. And then when there's like a guide on how you can actually apply to the internship at Penang Institute, and one of it is that I was given an assignment to do this one. I think it's an infographic poster, but they didn't specify what they want. So what I
mm,
did is I did and everything, and at that time I don't think I did a very good job at that. So I wasn't really expecting of actually getting in. So when I got in the first day, I was very intimidated by everyone actually.
mm.
And then oh yeah, let me show you
So
my
so
team.
right. So you mentioned just now that
Mhm.
before you were offered an internship placement there at Penang Institute, they asked you to come up with a poster of some sort. Yeah.
Yes.
Is that what happened? So basically, this is on the basically they send you a task, and they just want to test you out whether or not you are able to complete the job, and then only they will consider taking you in or hiring you. Is that what happened?
Yes, that's what happened. So
Mm,
so on the first day, uh actually, okay, let me share you what happened first.
okay, all right. I want you to, I want to go back, to basic. I want you to basically, because this is because a lot of our students here who are going to do their internship, they have so many questions in mind, about, especially, there's so many emotions, I'm sure, going around. They are either nervous or they are nervous at the same time. They are also excited, to do their internship. They don't know what's going to happen. They don't know what's waiting for them, at the office. I want you to, if possible, maybe you can share with us a bit, the first time you stepped into the company. Maybe you can share us a bit what happened, or what was it
Yeah.
like, in the what was the vibe, or the mood of the company when when you stepped into the company.
Okay. I think
Was it
okay.
like, yeah.
Just to give you an idea, these
Mm,
are my coworkers. So
mm,
they, I wouldn't say this, but they look very intimidating and everything. And I
right.
came at during the middle of the month.
Mm,
So at that time, I don't know what to do and everything. So what happened is like, Cheryl, my supervisor, the assistant editor, as you can see here, actually
mm,
assigned me with this task where I have to go through
mm,
all of Penang monthly articles on the website, and I have to figure out which article actually have an issue with the input of author tagging. So
right.
so in the beginning of on the first day I had to do that, and I feel like it is a task that I do for at least 4 days. I do the same thing. I do the
Right.
same thing 4 days. I keep on skimming and everything, and keep on recording everything in a Excel file, so that I didn't, because what happened is that I have to check the input,
Mm,
what's inside the website as online article, and I have
mm,
to how do I say, cross check it with the physical version of the magazine. So there's like this stack of magazine here, and I keep on doing that. I didn't talk to anyone. So that's what happened on my first, until like I would say until 20.
oh,
Yeah, until the 20th or 21st, I keep on doing that, and I feel so intimidated. Okay, actually, there was this one funny story on the first day.
mm,
So I didn't know what to eat and everything, and I didn't bring anything to eat because I was expecting there would be a cafeteria there, but there wasn't any. So my coworker actually asked me, "Oh, have you had lunch?" And what I replied to her is that I am fasting. While on the same day, I was sipping water from now here and there. So I didn't even realize that. Only at the end of the day, then I realized, oh my god, I said to that I was fasting, and then I keep on drinking water for the whole day. Now they know that I'm avoiding I'm avoiding lunch right now.
that's how
So yeah, that's happened.
yeah, that's how scary it was to you, yeah, the first day of internship.
Yeah,
Ah,
yeah,
okay. So you don't know what to do, you don't know where to go, and you feel like I still have things to do. I need to get this done, complete, as soon as
yeah,
possible, because I'm sure my supervisor is waiting.
yeah,
I mean, like, if I can relate to that 100%. When I did my internship, also the first time I went there, in my department they were all ladies. I was the only guy. That when I did this is I was assigned under the department. It was called content regulation department. This is under SKMM, where we are supposed to monitor social media, blogs. Back then blog was a thing. We had to monitor blogs, social media, if people, to check, if there are any posts or any uploads, that basically breach that people have posted that breach the law. We have to basically take a snapshot of it, make a report, and then if it is very serious, we have to pass it on to the next department, and this department, will liaise with the police and so on. So my department is where we have to monitor, and if the website is malicious, website is very, is scammy, or website is very dodgy, our task is to make that report, and then we can close down that website. So essentially, it's intimidating. I know it's a lot to do. I don't know what to do. They are all, there is no intern in my department. I was, I don't know what to ask. I don't know who to ask. But luckily my supervisor was very accommodating. He was there, she was there, always, she kept asking me, how are you doing? Do you know what to do? Let me just show you this and that. So I think same goes with you also. Your supervisor has she been very supportive of you and your work?
I mean, like I say, in the first 5 days,
Mm.
no one really talks to me. They gave me
Oh,
one job, and then no
right.
one really talks to me. So I got anxious, but at the same time I was thinking like okay, I'm gonna have to finish this job so that I can talk to my supervisor. If I haven't finished this job, I cannot talk to her yet. Something like that. I was thinking something like that. So,
Oh,
but actually, what happened during that moment is that everybody was so busy because it's in the middle of the month, and everyone is preparing for the next for during that time November issue. So Cheryl have an article to write, Rachel have an article to write, and during that time Ilya wasn't in yet. So
mm,
everyone was busy with their personal projects, so they don't really communicate. But then I don't know how things work back then.
mm,
So after, I think after on the 20th or the 21st, they actually initiated a lunch, like a
mm,
team lunch or something like that. And it's like, oh, so you should join us for lunch or something like that. So we went out and we actually talked and everything. And I feel like from that point, I understood how things goes.
mm.
Like,
Oh,
they're kind and everything, because
mm,
uh during, I think during the first lunch that we had, Cheryl actually asked me if everything was good. Do you feel like you're learning a lot? And
mm,
then she also asked me if I have anything else to do. And during that time, originally my job scope was to write articles
mm.
and also to monitor the website.
Right.
But then I noticed there is like an opening, not really an opening, an opportunity for me to do translation as well, because Penang Institute also have another publication. It's called Suara Nadi. So for that
Mm,
one, they sometimes they take articles from Penang Monthly and translate it to Malay for the Malay readers in the Suara
mm,
Nadi. So that's why I told Cheryl. I was thinking of, I was thinking of getting into this as well as part of my job or something like, because I feel it's really interesting to read a lot of their translation, because unlike the normal translation that we see, their translation, they don't just translate, they do adapt and make it
right.
work actually. So that's what inspired me to actually learn from them. So
Mm.
that's one of the things that I do now in the
So what you did,
beginning.
was you offered them
Yes,
your specialty. You say that you
yes,
told them you're able to do this and that. So that's why, they also, they gave you another job, that is to translate, everything that is already in English publication into PM. Is Yeah,
yes,
that's
yes.
what happened. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, that's good. I mean, that I know, I always, I mean, like, this is something that the rest of you can also learn. Yeah, because it's also very important, because sometimes, these companies, they don't know, I've been speaking to the industry, for quite some time, and every time when I go and meet them, they will always tell me that, oh, actually, this is the first time we are getting, that we get students from APB, from LG243, and we know that they are basically, their major is language. They are, they are made, basically, they but because of intercultural element, in their program, in the title, we just don't know where to place them. Sometimes, some, if it is like, some companies, they do a bit of research. Some companies, they will ask the students, what are you good, what can you do, how can you do this and that. But other times, the companies, they don't know where to place you. So, towards the end, at the end of the day, some of them will just place these students in the admin office, just helping the clerks or other staff, doing clerical work. So I think, it is always important, especially for students, for you to tell your supervisor, tell them offer them, your help, tell them what you can do, tell them what you have learned at LG243, and see, if you can offer, any help, or you can basically use your, knowledge, to improve their work process and so on. Yeah. So that's good what you did. Yeah, Husna. All right, good. Thank you very much for sharing that. Yeah. So let's go. I want to go a little bit deeper. Now that you have told me that say for example, you told us that everybody else were very busy. Not until like the fourth day they started talking to you.
Yeah.
Maybe you can share us a little bit about your role and main responsibilities during your internship, meaning to say that just walk us through a little bit, what it's like, maybe in the beginning, from morning until evening, what do you have to do on a daily basis?
So basically, my role and responsibility, there's actually four of it. So how do I say? When it comes to publication companies, it doesn't really, what you do every day is not the same. What you did today might not do that tomorrow. It's basically very task based, and also there is like a period. If you divide Technically, if you divide a month by half and half, so the initial half, from the first to, I would say, 15 or like 20, that is the period where usually the authors will be working on articles. So that is when, during that time, I will be working on personal project, personal articles, or personal research that I have to do. And during that time, assistant editors, Cheryl and Rachel, they're doing editing work. So
Mhm.
basically, articles that are being handed to them, they will do the editing and everything lah during that time. And during that time, I will be doing personal project, such as like writing articles, or like I conduct like interview or research, anything related to the project during that time. So the other half, I would say, from the 20th to 30th, that will be the time where they do proofreading. So what we do is like, unlike the normal proofreading that we usually do, we do pre-press proofreading. So what is a pre-press proofreading? Pre-press proofreading is when you have the content already in a PDF form, already in the format of a magazine. So how do I give you a visual? So basically, it's like you are proofreading stuff, but then in the format of a book. You're proofreading a book already. So you guys might be thinking, so what's the difference? So the difference is the visibility. Everything is super small, and you have to like I was so shocked in the beginning because I couldn't really see everything. uh and the first time I was given the task to cross check the amendment, and also the comments, and also the amendment that was given, and also the updated version of the magazine. I was so baffled in the beginning because I don't know which tool to actually use. And how do I like how do I actually So basically, to put it simply, I don't know what is wrong with the magazine. Why do they do this to me? Something like that. Because when it's already in the magazine, how to say, format, everything seems already right. The language is good. Everything is good. And that is because I'm not familiar to the publication style. So usually when you proofread, you often have this idea like, oh, okay, it have to be like this. It have to be like this. Okay, according to the Oxford format, it have to be like this. Or they should not be. I should have Oxford comma. So in but it's different in publication house. Different publication have their own house type, in which their own preference of punctuation, their own preference of format for reference, footnotes, and everything. So during that time, I don't really know about that, which is why I can't really pinpoint what is right and what is wrong. And sometimes I pointed out, oh, so this sentence, they did not put Oxford comma. And then Cheryl got back to me, oh, we don't really practice Oxford comma here. And I was like, oh, okay, okay. There's a lot of, moments like that. So, but then, after a while, when they actually give me the housing, I actually got the house style quite late. So actually I learned everything, all the preferences of proofreading before I actually got the house style. I don't know why it never came up to my mind that they might actually have the document for all the house style, so I didn't request for it. I didn't request for it in the beginning. So yeah, okay. So basically after that, after learning everything, it got better. I got better in recognizing everything. And oh, this is like the format, the format of the header and everything. It must be it's not an easy job because you have to look at everything. And okay, the catch in this is that if you fail to catch the error, everything will be printed 4,000 copies. So in case that happened, which it happened before, but not during my time. I didn't do that. But before this, they actually printed a magazine, and then they forgot to put the title of this one dato inside there. And then when it came out, the Datuk complained about it. So why does my name does not have my title? Something like that. So what happened is that they have to retrieve all the 400 copies and manually put stickers of Dato for 400 copies. So that's the risk of pre-press proofreading. So yeah, so basically that's what I do for editorial support. But I also do web content management where I publish, like I upload all the articles in post. So basically, if you guys have already learned website uh design or website management that we have in our short semester, basically that's what I do. That's what I do in web content management. So basically, I upload all the. So basically, we actually have. How do I say this? We have the physical format for the articles. So they have all the articles and everything here in physical format, but we also have online version of it on our website. So that's what I do. Once everything is finalized, so I have to create a post for that. That is also challenging too because when you copy from a PDF, everything just went awry. Everything, all the words suddenly doesn't have any space, and I have to put manually space. That's happened on the first day lah. That's happened on the first day of me uploading it, and there was so many error. The next day my supervisor texted me like 20 texts of screenshot. What is wrong, this article, this is. She's nice, but she's kind of scary. So I was like, that was the scariest moment of me, I think. But after, I would say, on the second month, I figured out how to actually copy correctly, and paste everything, and everything went smoothly after that. So after that, the error that I produced in the online article, like, started to reduce, something like that. Things happen like that. So
Right.
as for my additional tasks, actually, I mentioned it just now, right? That I mentioned that I also do translation for Suranadi. So basically, if they wanted to have any Penang Monthly article translated into Malay, so they give it to me and I translate the articles. I think I have about 4 articles translated for uh for 3 months, these 3 months, something like that. But I also do write Malay articles. But then the thing is, the thing is because I'm interning and I'm an English student. So what happened is that I wanted my article to also reflect English. So what happened is that I wrote a Malay article on global English. So that's what happened. So that's what happened. So because I was thinking of a topic that is not how do I say this? A topic that is not commonly that will be found in Malay. So who would actually write about English in Malay? So that's what happened. That's the idea of it. So that I will, because, and I also feel like that is one thing that our course, our student could actually contribute in terms of knowledge. So that's what I did. I wrote a Malay article. I think I have 2 articles in Malay. One is about global English, and another is a review of our GTLF, Georgetown Literature Festival, that was held, I think, in November. So I also got involved in that lah, because for the first time, Penang Institute actually got the chance to publish that. So basically, that's my job.
Right. Very impressive. Yeah, I mean that the fact that they have given you so many tasks to do, it goes to show that they have put their trust in you. They know that you can get the job done, which is very good. And this basically is the testament to that. You are able to write your own article. You even propose your own title for your article that you wrote. Yeah, so very good indeed. Yeah, Husna. So I can see that there's a lot of responsibility, especially for an intern. And of course this is different from one company to another, but in this particular institute, yeah, this is a research institute, and I can see that for you as a research as an intern there, you have been given so many responsibilities. So at the same time, it is, as much as it is exciting, it is also very nerve-wracking, because after what you said about 400 copies that they had to put stickers on each one of them because of the mistake that one person made. Yeah, and my question next will be, what I'm currently thinking about. This can be sometimes very overwhelming because there are so many tasks that you have to do. There are so many things to get done, and so little time there is, in a day. And my question next would be, how do you manage, maybe this is just a follow-up question, how do you manage your tasks on a daily basis because of so many things that you have to do in a day? How do you manage them? How do you manage your stress? How do you manage your deadlines and so on? If you can basically just give us a bit of info about that.
So does your question actually include what I have to do for my FYP? Because that's a different story.
We are not getting into that part yet.
Oh, okay, okay.
That one will come
Okay.
later. Yeah.
As for the tasks in the office, to be honest, it is actually quite challenging in the beginning, because we as students, we are very used to having, like, oh, our lecturer tell us they want this done by this date, on this, like, on this, what we call that, on this specific times. You have specific time, you have specific instruction, you have uh, all the samples you want. But when I was working on my project and everything, it's actually very shocking, the point that they give me the level of, I would say, autonomy that I have when doing my project. So actually, as you guys can see here, in one of the photo, this is actually an interview that I did with Miss Shung Nuo Wen, which is a designer from a local brand. So basically, what happened? How do I actually decided to interview this local brand is because Cheryl actually asked me if I have any idea to write for July articles, which is about textile. So what happened is that I just show Cheryl, Cheryl, have you seen this? It's actually a brand that turned songket into corset. So I was like, oh, this is interesting, Cheryl, and something like that. And the only thing Cheryl said to me was, you can cover them. You can do it. She said that I at that time I don't really have any, any actually an actual plan to actually execute this. I was just saying, oh, Cheryl, have you seen this? This seems interesting. I was just thinking about them. But then one thing about my team is that they're always like thinking of possibility. So you can do this. This is interesting, so you do it. If you think that something that is interesting, then go with it, something like that. So during that time, you have to juggle with a lot of things. I have to juggle with the planning. I have to also match my schedule, what I do, and also with the designer schedule as well. And then the mode of communication, everything was done by myself and not through my supervisor. So basically, what they did is that Cheryl gave me a green light, and what she wanna see in the final is the final product. So whatever I did in the in the in the process of doing that, I have to manage that by myself. And how do I do that is by to be honest, how do I do that? I don't even know how I do that actually. So one way that I keep track of stuff is that if you guys have never used Google Calendar, it will be your best friend during internship. So you will have to record everything. You will have this habit of jotting down all these deadlines because in internship, nobody is gonna remind you about your deadline. Nobody. Nobody's gonna remind you when you have to interview people. Nobody's gonna remind you when you have to reschedule stuff. So that is one of the things that you have to keep track on yourself. So
Mm.
in case on that day, for example, like I wrote this article. Okay, this one article about Songket. I wrote, and then suddenly I don't have any idea to what to write anymore. So I jump to another task. That's what happened. I jumped to another task while I would say keeping in view what I had. Like literally keeping it in view because in case you left your work for the project for a long time, you actually lost the momentum and also the idea of what it is. So basically, KIVing here does not mean you procrastinating. It literally means you keeping it on view. So you have to be careful about that lah. Things like that. So that's
Right.
how I juggle with. It depends on the situation actually, but then the calendar definitely helps. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Husna. I like some of the points that you mentioned that you highlighted. Number one is when you say that we have to rely on Google Calendar. Yeah, Google Calendar is very useful. It's always there in our smartphone. We carry our smartphone, every time, all the time, everywhere we go. So normally it's the traditional way is that we always have like physical notebook and we jot everything down. But once the notebook is left at home, then that is basically when things get very haywire. Yeah, that's why you have to rely on as much whatever that you are convenient to use. And in this case, Husna has been using Google Calendar. And I like also the fact that you mentioned that you suggested certain topics to your colleagues or to your supervisor, and I can see that you have been very proactive in your work, meaning to say that you don't just sit idly waiting for your task, waiting for people to give you tasks. You basically initiate things up with your colleagues and so on. And coming back to what you said about about managing your deadlines. Yeah, I like when you mention about the deadlines. And some people, they don't tell you when you're supposed to do certain things, or when the deadline is. You yourself have to know this. And normally the same thing I tell my students as well, that sometimes when you have so many things that you have to do at once, you just have to prioritize. You have to basically understand, the importance of, your task. How important is your task? Meaning to say that you have to put them according to, if you can, like take a piece of paper, and then you have to line up all the tasks that you have to do, and then put them according to order of importance. Meaning to say that sometimes there are certain tasks that are important, and also they are urgent, right? Meaning to say that you have to get that one done first, right there and then, no question asked. But there are also tasks that are important, but they are not that urgent. That's what, when you say about, KIV, now that you are in the corporate world, there's no such thing as, doing one thing at the time. Get, take, take a thing, do things, and then you get it done, and then you submit, and then get into another one. Sometimes, in this corporate, environment, you just have to be quick. You have to have like 10 different tentacles working all at once. Yeah. So basically I can see that's what happening, that's what you're doing also, Husna. Thank you very much. So my next question will be, now that you have told us about what you have done, how do you do them, and then how you manage all these deadlines and stresses, and people also at the same time, maybe you can share with us a little bit about, about APB, right? How did APB, or your studies, in LG 243 essentially help you prepare for some of these tasks? I know you have already explained to us some of the things that you did. Maybe you can, in general, how did LG 243 help you prepare, or help you get this one, get all these tasks completed or done? Maybe you can share with us very briefly. Yeah.
I think specifically in terms of publication and also what I do,
Mm.
a lot of what we learn actually helps a lot because when it comes to, for example, when it comes to Penang Monthly, we often produce articles that are very culturally related. And Penang, if you know Penang, Penang is a place where I think if you've never been to Penang, if you go to Penang, you will be shocked because even in my department, I have like three people in my department in Penang Monthly. We have Cheryl, we have Rachel. Rachel actually doesn't know how to speak Mandarin, but she knows how to speak Hokkien. And then we have Ilya. Ilya is actually she's a mix. She's Indian. She knows how to speak Mandarin. So during our time when we talk to each other, when we communicate, we don't really we don't they never actually spoken Mandarin with each other because Rachel doesn't know how to speak Mandarin. But when Ilya communicate with like other Indian we have another Indian workers employee, Miss Wana. Miss Wana actually communicate in Mandarin. So it's actually a very, mix and match things. So that is where I feel like intercultural communication is definitely very useful for this job. And as I mentioned just now, I also do translation. So translation is also very important for me when it comes to not just when I do translation, but also when I write articles. Because when you write articles about local culture, you have to think of a way you have to put the culture in a language that people who doesn't know the culture understand. So I have this one article that I wrote about rewang, basically the kenduri rewang or something like that. There's so lot of terms that I have to explain. So this one is that, this one is this one is that. What is berono? I bet some people doesn't even know berono, like Malay doesn't even know berono. So berono is actually a sea cucumber. So you have to find how to translate that. So translation is definitely very useful. And there's also, and when you translate, when it comes to translating culture, I have been given this one task where I have to translate this one article about offal. So basically organs, eating organs. But then the article is meant to be for the general audience, I would say. I wouldn't say it was meant to be for Malay specifically, not for Malay, because there are so many instances where they mention like pig liver, pig brain, that being and associating that with as a food, as a something you eat and everything, and something that is delicious. Uh, and it's really sometimes I had a hard time translating that article because before this we were taught that when it comes to translating culture, you have to adapt it to the to the Malay. So you have to make it, how do I say this? You have to clean it. So when I mentioned the association, and it feels so awkward to actually read the translated article. Yeah, but then I talked to the curator of Suranadi, Mr. Naim. I said to Mr. Naim, Mr. Naim, usually I learn it like this. So how do I do this and everything? And then what he said to me, uh, actually like snapped me out of my reality because he said that there's not only Muslim reading Malay articles. There are also Sabah Sarawakian reading Malay articles. So I think there is no issue with that. So when I like it's something very different given that we as a UiTM student, we are in a very monocultural environment, I would say, because not a lot of us actually we have like a few Borneo friends, but not a lot. So we are very in our bubble actually. So going out, getting to know, it it is actually it is actually a test of my intercultural competency. Yeah, that too. And also when it comes to web content management, that is what I okay, to be honest, I never thought that I would utilize my website design course into any of my future job or something like that. But then that's what I end up doing. And I think it's really important for you to know that in case you guys are being put in like PR or communication based, and you guys have to actually pay attention on that, and also attention on additional information or additional knowledge such as like SEO, search engine optimization, things like that would definitely help. So I wouldn't say that LPB courses was not helpful. It is definitely helpful, but then you guys have to also think that what you learn in university, you have to expand it in order for you to apply in what you do. So basically, there are people saying that, oh, in order for you to work, you have to forget what you learn in university because it's different. No, you don't have to do that. You have to expand what you learn, because what you learn in context, it might have different usage in the real world, something like that. So basically, that's why I find really helpful. Instead of forgetting what you learn, instead, for example, like I mentioned just now, like translation, when you have to like maneuver things around like that, and does that mean what we learn in translation is wrong? So it does not mean actually that. So it means that you just simply have to adapt what you learn in the university in what you do in internship. I think that is the most important thing when you go out for internship. And also you have to think of making use lah. You have to think of making use of what you learn, what you have, and also giving back to the company and something like that. Yeah, I think
Right.
that's all.
Thank you very much, Husna. I think that is very true. about what you just said. Yeah, I think this is the reason. Essentially, you are basically highlighting the purpose, of APB or LG243, to send students for internship. And the reason, this is basically coming back to the reason why we are sending students for internship, is basically to make them basically is for them to apply what they have learned in the classroom and apply into the real world practice. And basically, it's basically, this is the culmination of what they have already learned for the past like 5 semesters, and now they have to put it into practice. That's why it is always important, for students to find companies, organizations that align with our study plan, that has, like this, like institute, that you can see here. It is very relevant, and it is also heartwarming, and it's for to know that LG243 is very relevant. Our program is very relevant out there. We a lot of people can, it is very, a lot of companies, that can really make use of the knowledge that we have, especially taught our students. Yeah, and you can see that at the end of the day, our purpose, in doing this, especially in sending you for internship, to make you, number one, very knowledgeable, and also becoming more highly marketable. I like this about this one intern one time when I spoke to this one representative of an industry. He spoke to me that, oh, actually, this particular student of yours, she has been, helping us with all sorts of things, and I can see that she's very different than other interns. And because she's, number one, she's very open-minded. She is very independent. She knows what she's supposed to do. She is very resilient. She can take charge of her responsibilities, and because of that, we feel like this particular student is already industry ready. Basically, is industry ready. The key word that I remember this particular person said was industry ready, and that is basically what we aim, for our students to be able to achieve. Yeah, to be the to be able to to prove yourself, to be an asset, for an organization, for them to absorb you, and also, offer you and employ basically a permanent employment. All right, okay. I know this is already 9 o'clock, but I'm just gonna go a bit of, maybe we can touch one or two more, one question or two more questions before we get into
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Q&A. Yeah. All right, maybe my question will be, maybe this is, we are changing gear for a while. Now we are changing gears. We are basically, maybe we are looking at certain things that you can basically advise our juniors. Yeah, because we talk about choosing the right internship placement is very important. So my question
mhm.
to you is, what advice would you give to our students, to help them align their internship placement, with their career goals? Meaning to say that, how do you, because our program is basically, our students can get into so many industries, but what advice can you give our students to make sure that they are choosing the right path, or meaning they are choosing the right company that is aligned, with their career objective or career goals, probably.
All right, thank you for the question, Silas. So this is actually, I feel like this is the reason why I want to do this in the first
Mm,
place. Why I want to talk to you guys about, what I am experiencing. So basically, the first thing that you have to know is that you have to know what you want. That's one thing. You have to know what you can do and what you wanted to do. So the reason why I started my internship like a quite late, I would say, very risky. This uh to account to the fact that I have to juggle with my FYP and everything. So but then it is something that I want, because if I were to stay in my previous company, I would have to stay under HR. And that is one thing that I don't want to do at all. Because for for us that have been, we have like multiple intercultural communication courses, and finally going for HR just because of that. Sometimes you will only being given basic tasks where you have to, handle payrolls, you have to handle poster that, poster this, interview that, interview this. Not really a lot about intercultural communication. So that's what I did. I don't want to end up in HR. That's why I took the risk to actually extend my internship for quite sometimes, I would say. But then my advice is for you to explore what you have. For example, because I'm based in Northern area where there is not a lot of corporate companies, I would say. There is not a lot. But then uh like I wouldn't say there is none, because obviously in Penang there is a lot where you come where you can actually apply things like that. So you have to definitely study the geography of the place you want to base in, and after that you look into the industry that you can actually give back to, not just not just company that you wanted to. Because okay, to be honest, I was paid 500 ringgit per month, and does that actually compensate to what I do here? I wouldn't say that what I did here actually equivalent to 500, because I did a lot of stuff. We did a lot of stuff in publication, but what I feel is I got 500 ringgit and also self fulfillment in what I do. I feel so happy because, and okay, that this is one thing that I'm telling you guys. Not a lot of intern, when they do internship and they have their sample of work and everything. So a lot of corporate actually have this clause in their agreement where they actually said that everything that you produce became the intellectual properties of the company. So you are rarely being given the credit to what you actually do in a corporate world. So, but I happen to be very, 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 very lucky where all of my articles are published under my name. So that is one thing that you have to think of when you choose places for internship. So another thing, uh, so basically it's up to you, and also up to what you can take and what you want. Because in the future, in case you took your internship in like, for example, you took HR, you took HR, and then when you are searching for other job, what if you found opening in like marketing, media? So basically you're going into that industry with like zero knowledge of that industry, which is a waste of your internship time. So another thing that I would like to share with you guys is my tip. This is actually, oops, okay. As you guys see, this is what I think that will get me in when I apply for a job. So my resume, my cover letter, and also that poster that I did. This is what I think that will got me in. So the thing that actually got me into my position right now is this. I'm sure nobody knows what is this. Only I know what is this. So actually, this is actually a sample of my work from my assessment when I did it uh back in semester one. So this is for the sketchbook of intercultural context or something like that. Like the basically the one that you learn about intercultural communication, but uh in Malaysia, for that subject particularly. So what happened to me is that because I don't know what this company is gonna offer me, what kind of position they will offer me, so I did not just prepare that poster. I also prepare a compilation of my portfolio where I compile what I have done before. So I compiled this sketchbook, my posters that I did for exhibition and stuff, things like that, and I compile the intersection that okay, for under this assessment, what skill can I provide, what skill that I learn and everything. So basically I got the job because of this. because if let's say to be honest, I'm not convinced that my poster is good enough. So sometimes having a backup like this, backup plans, backup portfolios like this actually helps the company get to know you. And like in for example for example, you're like you're applying for this position for what PR, but they don't have any opening in that. They already have enough intern for that, but then you don't show them what else can you do, so they don't really know where to put you, and end up they don't give you the offer. But then if you actually give them options of things that you can do, probably they have an opening in other position that suits you. So yeah, so I think that is like extremely important for you to actually be different from other when you apply for your job. Yeah.
All right. Great advice, Husna. Very good. That is very insightful. Yeah. Basically, something that everybody in the audience should take note of. Yeah. Because especially now, when you say that these are the things that they saw and the reason why you got the position in the company, you basically it goes to show that these days, even though for interns or for even though for internships, people still want to see your resume, people want to evaluate you, people want to see what you can do, what you can offer to the company, and they need to see more than just resume. Sometimes like this, what you prepared like a very solid extensive portfolio, and that is something that could help you improve your chance to be accepted in the company. And this also is going to be relevant also beyond internship when you go, because you already have this prepared. So now you know what you should be doing right now to before you start your internship. Get and go back to whatever that all the assessments that you have done, or all the things, all the pictures, all the evidence that you've had, that can basically support your portfolio. Put them, and I like what you said also about you have to do a bit of self-reflection. Ask yourself, what do I want to do? Where do I want to go? Because LG 243 being a language language program, it's basically it's a bit tricky, yeah, in the sense that you are not focused, you because there are so many things, there are so many industries that you can get into, and essentially you at the end of the day have to make the decision you on your own. What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? Are you into public relation? Are you into HR? Just like what Husna said. She said that, well, she got the position as an HR intern, but she did not like it because that's not her cup of tea, and that's okay. All right. Now she wanted to get into publication. So now I want all of you, those who are going to do your internship after this, do a bit of self-reflection. Ask yourself, what is it that you are, more interested, to do. So and then only focus on developing your portfolio from there. All right. I think that is all the time that we have. This is already 9 o'clock. Yeah, 9:10. So I'm going to open to questions. If you have any questions, to our special guest of today, you can just post your question in the chat, or you can just unmute or raise your hands. We will allow you. We will and then you can ask question to her. All right. Is there any question from the audience? Anything you would like to ask? Anything at all? Or maybe if there is any question from our lecturers, we have a few lecturers here. We have Dr. Shamimi is here. We have Nadia Anu, Miss Nadia Anwar is also here with us. Anybody, students, do you have any question? Or maybe, if you don't, I can ask you just one last question just to wrap things up.
Yeah,
Nothing
hi.
from me. All the
All right.
best. All the best
Okay.
finishing, completing your internship, Una, and the rest.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Dr. Shamimi. Yes, Mr. Pavi.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Husna. I mean, I believe that you've managed to. Sorry, guys. I can't on my camera. I'm not in a very conducive environment to do that. Okay. Thank you, Husna, for your sharing. I believe that you've managed to package your experience in a very captivating way, right, Mr. Aizat? I have to
Yeah,
say that. The
Pandai.
only question that I have is I've read your articles that you've shared, Husna. As a reader, I'm just there's a lot of information that I've got. I believe that you've done a lot of research to it, but I
Mm.
believe that creative writing is not part of your genre, right? I mean, you don't really look at creative writing for your assessments. So, what were the challenges? What are the things that you have to face? Because I believe that a lot of your juniors would want to go into, let's say, the line where they have to come up with content creation, for example, right? Where they have to, you know, put on the creative caps and whatever to figure out a way to capture the audience attention. And sometimes being formal alone is not enough, can. So what are the challenges and how did you, make your writings so interesting? For those of you, you're going to share your the links to your articles later, yeah, Husna? All right, okay, yeah, she's going to do that. Okay. Yeah, okay, come on, yeah, Husna. Yeah.
So okay. So basically, that is actually my biggest loophole in the beginning, because when I mentioned you guys that I was given the freedom to actually choose my topic and everything. So the first article that I actually suggested to Miss Cheryl was about latah, about basically the latah syndrome and everything, because we learned that under sociolinguistic, I think. And I feel like, oh, it would be interesting to tell you guys about latah, which is a CBS, a cultural bound syndrome for the Malay. And basically that. So I handed in my skeleton draft to her, and then she got back to me with a comment that, Husna, I this sounds too educated. This sounds too academic. Can you make it less academic? So that's what she responded to me, and I feel like I was a bit confused. And then what she did after is that she gave me multiple of articles about culture. And what I did is that I have to analyze the language structure and everything. So the thing is, when we write as a student, we tend to like, very long structure, very elaborate and everything, because we were writing for our lecturer to read. Basically, that's their field, that's their I would say that's their forte. They know what we are talking about. But then when you have to explain to the general public, imagine me saying that, okay, lata is basically when you have coprolalia, when you have like repetitive words and everything. They won't not understand all that. So that is one of the challenges, which I think one way that Rachel helped me how to unravel that is that she basically asked me to write an article about Rewang, which is from my personal anecdote, from my personal view. I don't have to cite anyone. So basically, just I write and let loose with everything that I write. So I was able to produce an article that is, I would say, it's more like storytelling kind of article, which she liked that one better than my previous article. She said that, so basically, you when you go into internship, basically whatever kind of writing that you have to produce, whether you have to be in the PR, whether you have to be for corporate communication, you have to adapt to the level of, I would say, the tone and everything. It's really important that you change the way you write and adapt according to what, I would say, you have to think of who you are writing to and what is the purpose. And I think that helps me a lot. But there's a catch to it lah. Because right now I'm writing my FYP, and I find it really hard to write educated tone again. So it have to you have to, you have to maneuver with it. But then basically, when you when you are out there in the industry, in the, I would say, in the general public, you have to think of one thing. You are out with people who doesn't know about your expertise. So you cannot be talking things that doesn't make sense to them. So you have to make things make sense by using, simpler language, layman term, and analogies is definitely very helpful when it comes to article, because I use analogies a lot. Okay, imagine in this, and rather than explaining lata in a very scientific way that we know in a very linguistic term, I find way to do it. I find examples to actually represent it, something like that. Yeah. So that's how I maneuver over it.
Wonderful, Husna.
Wonderful. Thank
Yeah,
you very much,
yeah.
Husna.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All
Okay.
right. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, Mr. Babi.
I believe that's it, Mr. Aizad. I mean, anything. Thank you, Dr. Shamimi and Miss Nadia, for joining us today.
Yeah.
Anything from you, Miss Nadia?
All right. I think one last question from Akmal. I think just one
Okay,
last.
yeah. All right. Okay.
What is your biggest worry before starting your internship, and after your intern, because your intern is at the end, does that worry still bothers you? Does it still bother you? Maybe you can simplify your answer in less than 30 seconds.
Okay, I think I did mention about my biggest worry in the beginning is that because I'm working in a think tank, I'm working with geniuses. Everyone is like super smart.
Mm.
So my biggest worry is that I am worried that I will look dumb. That is my biggest worry, to put it simply. But then the thing is, this thing is, every single intern is gonna experience that they don't want to look dumb. They want to look as useful as
Mm.
possible to to your supervisor, to your colleague, and everyone. But then eventually, after in the middle, you will learn that you know presenting yourself as someone that is still learning is the best way to maneuver this in this situation, because if you admit that you don't know, they will know that you don't know, and they will know how to actually guide you. So in the beginning, the if you let them know what you don't know, they will be able to guide you, and the problem will eventually settle, something like that. I think that is like the biggest concern for every interns.
Right.
Oh,
I think that's, yeah. Sorry. Continue.
oh
You were
yeah.
saying?
I think. It's okay. Mr. So you can go first.
All right. I think there's a term for this. I think people will say it's an imposter syndrome, right? When you
Yeah,
feel
it's
like
imposter
you don't
syndrome.
you don't level you don't you feel like you are not enough, you are not good enough, for to be working in this particular company. And because of that, a lot of, I think this is a common experience, and especially for the newcomers, especially for the interns, yeah, who are going for on the first who are going, to start their internship. So like what Miss Husna has said just now, and also what we have been discussing, for the past like an hour or so, essentially you just have to admit, or you just to have to realize that what you're doing here, it's all a part of a learning process. We are here because, with a student ticket, we are here working. At the same time, we are gaining as much knowledge as possible, and we are trying our best, to make sure that we are able to complete our internship. So along the way, if we have problem, because we are still new, because we don't know how the process, how the work process goes and so on, that's why we have our supervisor. We are assigned with, workplace supervisor, who will always monitor us and guide us along the way. It's always important, to find, or to go back and forth, with your workplace supervisor, and tell them what your problem is, what the things, about the things that you don't know, and so on. And it's also important, sometimes when you are not assigned with probably a supportive, workplace supervisor. So it is on you to go to the HR and, tell them about your problem, and maybe they will assign you with someone else who is going to be helpful, to help you manage, your internships, and also make you, and that's how things are going to be. Yeah. So I think, that brings us, to the end of the session. This has definitely been an eye-opening sharing session. All in all, it's a great exposure also for all of us here in attendance. A huge thank you, to Husna, and for her sharing her experiences and advice with us today. And thank you all to the participants and also our lecturers, for joining. Yeah, and we hope you found this session very helpful and very valuable. Yeah, to help you with your internship, in the upcoming semester. So with that, thank you very much. I wish you all the best of luck with your internships. Take care. So this is the last of the series. This is the last series.
Yeah, this is the last series, guys,
Yeah.
for the internship session. Yeah, so we're gonna take a break next week, and we're gonna come back March, and we're gonna have your super seniors share the experience about what is it like. I believe we have a few people where I believe we have invited a few people to give a talk on their work experience.
Mm.
So I believe that there's going to be, a lot of sharing important things that you should know when you enter the real world, the working world. All right, guys. So I'll see you back again on. Is it March, Miss Isa?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So that's it, I believe. Anything else?
Mr. Poppy,
Yes. Yes, Husna.
sorry, I would like to also take your time for a while to
Okay.
do some promotion
All
of
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Penang.
Sure. Sure.
So basically, if you guys want to read the online version of the article, I've left the link for the website where you actually can sign up. You don't have to pay anything. You just have to sign up for the membership. It is free, and you can read all you want, all the issues you want. And if you happen to wanted to get the physical copies, I've also attached the link where you can actually get the pickup points. And there are several pickup points in Penang, like a lot of it in Penang, but then there are also several pickup points in KL and also Selangor. If
All
you
right.
guys
Okay.
happen to be near to that places, then you can actually go and take it for free. Yeah. And also,
Right.
if you
Okay.
guys want to read the my articles, so I have also attached the
Yes, all of you
link.
should do that, guys, just to get an idea on what needs to be done. Okay, again, thank you, Husna. I'm sorry, guys. I mean, it's basically in February, I said, next month.
February.
Yeah, in February. Yeah, not March, guys. Yeah, so I'll see you back again. Announcement will be made later. So yeah, see you in February. Yeah.
All right.
All
Thank you
right.
for
Okay,
joining.
guys. Take care. All the best with your assessments. Thank you, Husna. Thank you, Dr. Shamimi and Miss
Yeah.
Nadia.
Thank you,
Okay,
Nat.
bye. I guess
Thank you.
that's it. Yeah.
All right. Take care.
All
Bye
right.
bye.
Okay.
Assalamualaikum.
Bye. Sorry for taking too
You,
much time.
no, you've done great. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.